That if you are not already there. And first we're just going to start very stable, feet about hips width, maybe a little bit more. And start to draw in and up through your low belly. So it feels like there's a zipper going from your pubic bone up to your belly button. And that's going to make it so that if you have any tendency to stand like this with your butt out, or like this with your butt under, you're going to find a neutral position. And it's a very strong position. Your hips are facing forward. So keeping that, just reach your right arm up and try to draw some little circles on the ceiling. And try not to wiggle too much in your core or your hips or shifting on your feet. And do the other direction. Keep getting a little bit taller as you move. And then reach out to the side and do some circles there. And you can make them as small as you want or quite large. But if I do a real large circle, there's like the tendency for this to happen. Go the other direction. So keep making sure your hip bones are facing front. If you feel any wiggling, just make your circle smaller with your arm. Okay, change arms, left arm up. And I like to feel the ribs because my tendency is to stick them forward. Let's change the direction of the circle with the arm. So I just keep one hand on the core just to make sure, is it still? We want our hips and our lowest ribs to stay still. And reach your arm out to the side, do something there, big or little, but be honest with yourself about what's happening through the core. Keep standing tall, keep zipping up, and go the other direction with your circle. This is just a very easy way to warm up the shoulders, but you're also starting to focus on the core. So it's like a twofer, which I always like. Okay, then let's just face front. We'll reach up for an inhale and fold forward for the exhale. Just come halfway up for the inhale and step to tabletop for the exhale. So knees down, hands under the shoulders. I'm just going to face this way, but you're fine as is. We're going to push the floor away so it feels like your shoulder blades move apart, and drop your chest down so you feel your shoulder blades come together. And just do this a few times. The arms stay straight. We often call this scapular push-ups. And just keep the weight on your thumb and pointer finger. You're just moving your shoulders. The hands and the forearms and the arms stay steady. Okay. And when you're able, straighten the legs to a plank. And in this position, your shoulder blades are wide. You're pushing the ground away from you. Find that zipping up feeling in the low belly that you had when you were standing. For the exhale, we'll just bend the elbows, they'll graze the ribs. Inhale to lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, and press the downward dog exhale. Shake out the head and neck. Let's walk hands to feet. Bend the knees as you approach. Drop the head. Just roll yourself up to standing. Take your time. The head will come up last. And when you're there, just again stand tall. Feet separated. Connecting the ribs in a little bit. Pelvis lifting. And just take your arms to cactus. So if you're just standing like this, it's very easy to maintain neutral. Let's lower the fingers and then lift. Just do this a few times, nothing changing except where are the forearms, and that's coming from shoulder rotation. The tendency is to do all of this cat-cow type stuff, which is what we would do if we were in one of my African dance classes. But right now, try to keep the core very still. Just let your shoulders get some extra rotation. Okay. Next time your palms are up, slide them all the way up, reach up, look up, exhale to fold. Halfway up for the inhale, and we'll step to tabletop again. If you felt that was okay, This time heavy-handed tabletop. So it's the same thing, except your knees are just a few inches off the ground. And see if you can do those scapular push-ups from there. If you try it and you think it's too much weight in the arms, just put your knees on the floor again until your shoulders feel like they have a little more strength or control. We'll meet in a plank position with the ground moving away from us, so we're pushing firmly. On your exhale, bend the elbows, chaturanga, inhale, upward facing, and exhale, downward facing. Naturally, the belly will draw in here. Start walking hands to feet. Take your time. Whenever you get there, bend the knees, drop the arms and head, and start to roll up. Belly comes in toward the spine to help articulate that. And again, we'll stand, feet about hips width or maybe a little bit more. Zip up and take your arms out. So we'll just go in and out of Gomukhasana arms. I'm going to turn around in a sec so you can see it. So we can have the arms straight out to the side, and one arm will roll forward, so we can bend it behind, we'll connect the fingers, and then we'll reach out to the side again and switch. So the arm that's going underneath is going to have that shoulder roll forward. The arm that's reaching up is going to have the shoulder roll back. So it takes a little bit of coordination. Also be wary of this whole wiggling situation again. So zip up, and if you can't get your fingers to touch, no big deal. Just be honest with where you are. Okay. So after your next Gomukhasana arms, just let that go. We'll come to the top of the mat. My cat has destroyed the block. I don't know if that's on the view, but she just did a whole little nails thing. Okay, we'll reach up. Inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. Step to plank, exhale. If this is too much, we're going to do scapular push-ups again. If it's too much, put your knees down. We'll let the chest sink. And we'll push the floor away. Just do about 3 to 5. There should be no pain. If you have any pain, knees down. When you feel ready, shift your weight forward a few inches, chaturanga. Cycle through the rest of your vinyasa. We'll meet in downward dog. When you get to down dog, just shake out the head and neck. You might feel a little bit fatigued in the shoulders. If that's true, then maybe child's pose instead, because it's early yet. You don't want to get too tired too quick. From down dog, let's lift the right leg up high. Step forward to the hands. Lower the left knee down. Steeple mudra for Asana. Pointer finger moves up. Lower the fingertips down. We'll straighten both legs. Maybe even flex the right foot. And place the palms flat. Bend the right knee so you can get that position. And step to plank. Just hang out here for a moment. Bring the feet together, ankles touch. We'll head over to the left hand for side plank. We'll try to lift the hips pretty high. Maybe even look at the right thumb. Come through center plank and head over to the other side. Really the trick to feeling good in this pose is keeping your hips up. Head to center plank and either vinyasa or find your downward dog. We'll meet in downward dog. Pay some attention to the belly drawing in, because it's a really nice feeling. You might as well be aware of it. Lift the left leg up high, inhale. Step to the hands, exhale. For Asana, steeple mudra, reach up. I think my roommate just got a bird out of our house. Fingertips down. Curl the back toes. Inhale to straighten the left leg. Exhale to bend the left leg. We'll step to plank again. This time we're going to go right hand first. So bring your feet together. That just makes it a little easier. We'll rock to the outer edge of the right foot. Lift the left arm up. And come through center plank when it's convenient for you. You're pushing the floor away just like you did in that scapular push-up. So there should be no pain in the bottom shoulder. We'll come through center plank and vinyasa at your leisure. If you do ever have pain in the shoulder, A, skip the pose. B, modify the pose by either coming onto the bottom knee or coming onto the forearm. Find a way to make it easier. Okay, right leg up high, inhale. Step forward, exhale. Left knee down, cactus arms in your Asana. So we have our knuckles and our elbows moving back. On your inhale, straighten your right leg, flex the foot and reach up. This is very precarious. Dig your right heel into the floor and return to your Asana with your cactus arms. 2 more times. Inhale, you really have to dig your heel down. Exhale. Now you're pulling with that right hamstring. 1 more time. Squeeze the thighs together. We'll lower the hand. We'll step to plank. We'll come onto the forearms. So you might want to lower to the knees and then the forearms. Let's stack the hands. We'll do left hand under right hand so that you have a little V shape with your forearms. Feet together, ankles together. Side plank on the left forearm. And this hand position is just going to make it a little easier for your shoulder rotation. We'll come through center. The left hand will slip out of the way so the right hand can grip the floor. Keep the hips up. Through center. We'll come to the knees again so that we can place the hands where the elbows just were. Find your plank. Vinyasa at your leisure. Every time you move through chaturanga into upward facing dog, you have the opportunity to work the shoulders rolling back. Do that slowly always. Maybe do it with the knees down. Okay, left leg up high, inhale. Step forward to the hands, exhale. Asana with cactus arms. And just notice how powerful that front heel is. We're going to straighten the front leg and reach up. Draw the belly in. Exhale to rebend. 2 more times. Hopefully nobody is using one of those $8 mats from Ross Dress for Less because that will maybe hurt your back knee. In which case, just put a towel under your knee. We've all had a crappy mat at some point in life. Okay, hands down, step to plank, find a way to your forearm. This time the right hand underneath the left, but the elbows are just shoulder width, no more. Feet together, ankles together. Come onto the right hand. Keep your hips up so the right thigh is pushing into the left side. Come through center and head over to the other side. Hips up and left thumb digs into the floor. We'll come through center, knees down, hands replace elbows. There you are in a modified plank right away. You can stay there or lift the knees to full plank. Exhale to bend the elbows. Inhale to roll your shoulders back, chest up, downward dog exhale. Enjoy the belly drawing in. For those of us with back issues, it's a good opportunity to get a stretch that's quite gentle. Okay, right leg up high, inhale. Step forward to the hands. High lunge, reach up. This time we'll lower our back knee and open up the arms. And your choice if you lower it all the way or just a little bit. Inhale, reach up again, high lunge. Exhale, we twist. We look back over that right shoulder. Inhale, high lunge. Just one more time. Exhale, we twist. Inhale, we reach. Let's place the fingertips down. Go right into three-legged downward dog. I shouldn't say fingertips, I mean palms. The right leg will slide up and back. Let's point the toes of that right leg. On the exhale, we're going to square the hips and flex the foot. So it feels like the heel is kicking back. On the inhale, lift the hip and point the toes. Exhale, square and flex. That right leg will come down considerably. Inhale, lift it up, point like you're going to touch the ceiling, and just take a few more like that. See if while you're doing this, you can keep your shoulders square. So at all times, you're going to have to think about lifting your left armpit up. The next time that your hips are square, lower your right foot down to a normal downward dog position. We get to do all of that on the other side. Left leg high, inhale. Step to the hands, exhale. High lunge, arms up, inhale. Twist to the left, bend your right knee, exhale. Untwist, squeeze the thighs, inhale. Exhale to twist. That left knee should not migrate, so it's just over your ankle. Inhale. Exhale. That left knee keeps squeezing in, even as you twist. Inhale. And plant the hands flat, three-legged downward dog. Left leg up, stack your hip. Lift your right armpit up. And moving with your breath, we square and flex for the exhale. We lift and point for the inhale. Both legs straight. Unless, of course, you have a conscious decision to be in a down dog with the standing leg bent and the heel up. There's plenty of reasons you would want that, but it's not accidental. Take two more. Now the belly in just a teeny bit more because I know you can. And the next time that your hips are square, lower the foot. Shake out the head just in case your neck is tense. Let's walk the hands to the feet. We'll reach for the big toes. Inhale. Exhale, fold. And in this particular fold, let's keep our elbows just outside the shin bone so you actually feel your arm grazing your leg. There are other schools of thought where the elbows point out to the sides. I think both are valuable. Just for right now, do the hugging the shin bone variation. See if you can roll your shoulders back and have them defy gravity so they're moving away from your ears. Release the hands to the floor. Keep your feet as they are. Walk into downward dog. Try to keep your heels down. When your hands are getting further forward, your legs just have to be stronger to keep the heels down. Okay, right leg high, inhale. Step to the hands, exhale. High lunge, inhale. Warrior two for the exhale. We're going to bring both shoulders rolling forward so that we can hold opposite elbows behind the back. And then reach out again. And both shoulders rolling forward. Again, hold opposite elbows. I'll show you from the back. And one more time, see if you can do this Without changing the shape of your warrior two, we're going to meet here with our tailbone dropping down and our mid-back pressing into our forearm. One more breath, bend the front knee a little bit more. Lift the back heel so it turns into a high lunge. Maybe adjust your right foot if you need. And lower the back knee down so it becomes an Anjaneyasana, still with your arms stuck behind you. Lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. Either stay here or slip the hands apart and just touch the floor that's under your hips. Not much changed from holding the elbows to touching the floor. The shoulder situation, very similar. Take one more breath. We'll plant the hands, three-legged downward dog, right leg up. We're going to go same side, right foot forward. Inhale, reach up. Warrior two, exhale. This time, just try to get into reverse prayer. So as you slide the hands up, your palms connect. Just try it a few times. Don't lose the shape of your warrior two. I know your right thigh is getting tired. If this is too much, just hold opposite elbows again. Coming from the shoulder, not the wrists or the elbows. Next time that you're in your position, either opposite elbow or reverse prayer, pivot to face the front of the mat. And again, bend your back knee to the floor. You wind up again in Anjaneyasana. And the elbows are reaching back. If you have a prayer position, you're going to feel your thumbs connect more firmly. Okay, slowly slip the hands down to the floor. Step into plank. Exhale to bend the elbows. Inhale to lift the chest, like your upper arms are pulling your ribs forward. Downward dog, exhale. Left leg high, inhale. Step forward, exhale. High lunge, inhale. Warrior two, exhale. Roll the shoulders forward, very easy, hold opposite elbows. Now you're quite warmed up, so maybe this is no big deal. So then you can address the warrior two aspect of the pose. Can you bend your front knee deeper? Can you zip up through the low belly a little bit more? Probably the answer is yes. Okay, the next time you're holding your elbows, lift your back heel, lower the back knee. Bend your front knee a little deeper if you can. Either stay there or fingers down under the hips. If your fingers are almost down but not quite, roll your shoulders back a little bit more so that you're actually closer to the floor with your shoulders, and bend your front knee a little bit more. One more breath. Hands to the floor, three-legged downward dog, left leg up. Step that foot forward again. High lunge, inhale. Open up warrior two, exhale. Just check that you have your heel to heel alignment, pubic bone is lifting, ribs are tucked in, everything is nice and neutral. And release your arms into reverse prayer, or the same as you did. Extend it out. So it all starts with this rolling shoulders forward. That's what's going to get your knuckles to touch, and then you can flip it around to the palms. If it's hard for you, you just have your prayer position lower down on your back. Eventually, it's going to be up between your shoulder blades. This next one, whatever your hands and arms are doing, lift your back heel, lower the right knee. Now you'll feel your hands lifting your heart up. So back bends are really always coming from the back body, contracting. And the hands here are just giving us a little bit of that manual adjustment. Okay. Let's release hands to the floor. Step back to plank, vinyasa. Let's come to hands and knees. If your side planks earlier were difficult, repeat one of the ones that we did, either straight arms or hands connecting in the middle. Otherwise, make your forearms parallel to one another. Then step back to your forearm plank. We'll glue the left hand down and come onto the outer edge of the left foot, lift the right arm up. This is a more difficult shoulder position. So if it feels like too much, return to the one we did before, make your life a little easier. We'll come through center, over to the other side. Wherever you decide to put your right hand, glue that thumb down so that when you look up, you don't fall backwards. Hips up a little higher. Come through center, forearm plank. Walk your feet in so it becomes down dog B. If this is too difficult for the shoulders or anything else, interlace the fingers so it becomes dolphin. Either way, head is dangling, not on the floor. And your breath should be pretty easy. If your breathing is nuts, go to an easier version. Take one more breath here. Lower to the knees so that we can straighten the arms and return to downward dog easily. Right leg high, inhale. Step forward, exhale. Warrior two, inhale. Reach your left arm behind your back. So it'll be the same rotation you did when you were holding your opposite elbows, but go a little further. Slip it around to your thigh. We'll take it into Ardha Chandrasana. Reach the right hand forward, lift the left leg up. You can have your hand on a block, a stack of books, or if nothing is convenient, just bend your right knee if you need to so that your fingertips can be on the ground. Take one more breath. We're going to turn it into triangle pose, which is very similar, just a little bit harder. Step the left foot back and straighten both legs. So it's easier for balance, but it's harder for opening the hips. Just work a little bit harder to scoop your right hip underneath you. Move your left shoulder back. If you want a little extra neck stretch, drop your right ear toward your right shoulder. Feels quite good. Okay, let's bring the head to neutral, unravel your arms, step back, vinyasa. For the other side, left leg high on an inhale, step forward, exhale, right into your warrior two. That right shoulder is going to roll forward just like it did many, many times already. And slip it behind you, aim for your thigh. When you can, Ardha Chandrasana. I'm just going to step back a bit so that I stay on the camera. So we're kicking that right heel back. If you can, look up. And it's similar concept to your side plank. In order to look up, the inside of your foundation has to be more sturdy. So that would be now the ball of your left foot. Okay, transition into your triangle. Step back with that right foot. Straighten the left leg. Decide where you want your hand to be so that you can get your legs straight. And either look up or let your ear drop down. Sometimes it's nice to drop the chin down. Your neck will communicate with you if you give it a chance. Unravel ourselves, hands to the floor, step into plank, vinyasa. Shake out your head here. Bring the right foot between the hands. Lower the left knee. It doesn't have to be Anjane style. It could be more boxy. You decide. Twist. Left arm up and over. Roll the flesh of the right thigh in so that you can get your hook a little bit more sturdy. And palms together. Back knee up. Just take a few breaths here to stretch through your right glutes. If you do not feel a stretch through your right glutes, probably means your hip is swinging too far out to the side and you have to angle it back more, as if your right hip is going to touch your back foot. Okay, we'll return to a twist in a little bit. Let's unravel. Just reach the right leg up high. Inhale. Step to the hands. Same foot. Quarter turn to the left. Prasarita D. Reach for the big toes. Inhale. Fold, exhale. Shift the weight just a tiny bit forward so you're not hanging out in the heels. Roll the shoulders back so they are defying gravity, getting away from your ears. Next inhale, we'll straighten the arms. We'll walk the hands toward the right foot. Set up for twisted triangle. So we'll slide the left foot in a little bit and out to the left a little bit. So we have a heel-to-heel alignment. Left hand is somewhere comfortable for you. Right arm up. And just like in that twisted lunge, we need to swing this right hip back. It's harder now. So you might, instead of reaching up, you might want to bring your thumb into your hip crease and literally push your hip back. That would not be considered cheating. That might be considered smart. Depends what's happening in your body. That's just one of the many things I like to play with in twisted triangle. Okay, we'll untwist. Step back more with the left foot, return to your low lunge with the knee on the floor, return to your twisted lunge, prayer lunge. So we'll get that left arm outside of the right thigh from whence we came. This time we're going to attempt a twisted chair. Look down for the sake of balance, and then move your back foot to meet your front foot. It might be a series of steps, it might be one big step. Eventually you wind up with feet together, knees together. You still have your hands together. Either stay here, or we'll take a detour to Parsva Bhekasana. We'll reach our hands out to the side, out to the right, as if we have another mat. So you'll be off your mat for a moment. The left hand might be on your mat, but your right hand will be off your mat. You'll shift your weight so your hips center over the forearms and then lift the feet. It's just a matter of moving the center of gravity over to the side. Okay. If you're still in the arm balance, return to your feet. We'll untwist and step back so that we can vinyasa and meet back in down dog. We'll get to do all of these things on the other side. We'll lift the left leg high, inhale. Step to the hands. Lower the right knee down. Find your way into a twist. I like to back up a little bit. Roll the flesh of the thigh in. Dive down a little bit. Somehow we'll get to a prayer position with our back knee off the floor. We'll try to find a stretch for that left hip. Maybe we'll look up. Okay. Untwist. Walk the hands to the right, quarter turn. This time we're going to reach our arms through our legs. And let's go palms down so the thumbs face out. This is not really one of the prasartas, but it feels kind of fun. We're going to crawl ourselves through so that our head comes down a little bit more. When you feel like your head is at its maximum depth, just flip your hands over so your palms face up. This is just so that later when we go to do Uddiyana B, we have some memory of this position. Okay, flip the hands away, straighten the arms, walk your hands to the left side, to that foot, set up for twisted triangle, right foot will come in a bit, move maybe to the right a little. Both legs straight, left arm either up or in that hip crease, the thumb will just slip in so that you can push that hip back. Another adjustment I like a lot is left hand around to the right hip and literally fingers grip around the hip bone and lift it up toward the ceiling. Slowly untwist, step the right foot back more so that you can lower the knee, setting up for your twisted prayer. Lots of wiggling happens to get into this pose. Move your boob out of the way if that's a factor. Lift your back knee when you can. Step your back foot to meet your front foot so that even the knees touch. Either stay here or hands will come down. Right hand is maybe 6 inches from your foot. Left hand will be maybe 18 inches from your foot because your hands are the same distance apart now that they would be in downward dog. Stay as long as you'd like. We'll meet again in our Bhekasana. Let's untwist our Bhekasana and just stand tall. Shake out the legs, shake out the arms. Okay. I'm going to face you, but you're fine as is. Flying pigeon. Right ankle to lower thigh, lower left thigh. Fold forward. Take one more breath here. This is just to nudge into our right hip a little more. We'll start to stand, big step back with the right foot, pivot around for warrior two with the right leg bending, so that we can find our Parsva, either right elbow on the thigh, or right hand down on the floor, big toe or little toe side. If you're on big toe side, consider going for a bind, which is a great way to work into the shoulders, but of course it has to be done very slowly. You already did a lot of shoulder stuff. The top arm for this particular bind is the easy side. Getting this right hand to clear that thigh is a pretty big deal. You might be leaning forward in order to make it happen. That's fine, but as you feel more comfortable, lean back again. Let that go. We'll rise up. Return to flying pigeon at the top of the mat. So that right foot will lift up and over to the lower left thigh. Stick your butt out. I'm just backing up for the sake of the camera. Feel free to stay here or go for Galavasana, which is placing the hands down about 12 inches in front of your left foot. Same distance between your hands that you have in a down dog. Bend your elbows. Place your knee on your right arm, your foot and ankle on your left arm. Lean forward until your left foot can start to lift off the ground. Just take another breath or so. Just shifting the weight. Shift the weight into the left foot again if you went onto your hand. And then just stand, shake it out as needed. We'll do the other side. Left ankle to lower right thigh. Flying pigeon. Enjoy this stretch for the left hip. Because when we come into that warrior two that turns into Bhekasana, we start dealing with the shoulders, so you sort of need your hip to be on board. All right, rise up, step back with the left foot, pivot around, find your warrior two stance, heel to arch, find the beginnings of your Bhekasana, and just decide where do you want to take it. This would be the one that's easiest for twisting the chest open. You might want to work just a half bind, bringing the right hand to the left thigh. You could even practice that with the left hand on the big toe side of the foot. And the final step would be trying to get that left hand under. On the days my shoulders don't want to cooperate, I'll use the top arm, fingers to forearm of the bottom arm. And I'll literally nudge the bottom forearm under. It's a gentle nudge, but it's enough to clear the thigh. Slowly unwind yourself, rise up, pivot on the feet, find your flying pigeon, left ankle to lower right thigh, stick your butt out, chest leans forward. So you have your center of gravity always changing. Hands come down if your hip says it's okay. When you want the arm balance, you shift further forward. You hook your foot very firmly on your right arm. And the shifting forward is going to allow your leg to move back. It can be very emotionally demanding, shifting forward, because of course you don't want to fall on your nose. So if you're still on your hands, return to your foot. And we'll all just stand up, shake it out. I'm going to wipe sweat real quick, and we will come to the top of the mat again. Okay. Reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. Step or jump, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Right foot forward, it could just go like halfway forward. We're about to come into Viparita, Ardhachandrasana, or Ardhachandra actually. So slide your fingers forward, back leg off the ground, and bend your back leg like you're going to kick yourself in the butt with your left heel. Inhale, reach your right arm up, and reach it back for your foot. Find any grip you can, and start to kick. Like your heel is now moving away from your butt. You'll wind up opening through that right shoulder a bit. Maybe you look up. If the floor feels really far away, bend your right knee a little bit. One more breath here. Woo, I started to fall out of it. Okay, unravel yourself. Slide your left knee to the pinky toe side of your right foot and have a seat for Ardha Matsyendrasana. If it hurts your knee to have it bent like this, just straighten it out in front of you. When you're ready, twist to the right. Either hugging your knee to your left shoulder or hooking your elbow. Just like in the prayer twist, I need to use my free hand, which here would be the right hand, and I need to roll the flesh of this right thigh in. It's the same thing we do in that lunge twist. Otherwise, I feel like there's too much space here. So take your time eliminating the space. Then if you want, you can reach down for the foot. Some of you, maybe there's no space even from the beginning. But I find that is the biggest challenge of these twists is getting the armpit close to the thigh. Okay, we're going to untwist. We're already standing on that right foot. It hasn't moved at all. Let's find our standing split. by leaning our weight forward and lifting the left leg up. When you can, place your hands on your right calf and start to pull your chest closer to your leg. Your leg will push into your hands. Point your top foot, reach for the ceiling. Let's undo the hands and step to a gentle lunge so that we can find our Eka Bhekasana into vinyasa. If that sounds awful, just go to vinyasa, meet us in downward dog. So from here, you're in just a nice, easy lungey thing. We're going to try to put our armpit on our shin bone. Sometimes folks can go armpit to knee. It's just really hard. Feel free to try that if Eka Bhekasana is easy for you. To get your armpit to your shin, look how bent forward I am. And the elbows are kind of out to the side a bit. We're going to fix the elbows in just a sec. First, get that armpit to shin position. Then place your hands like you would downward dog. Lift your right foot, lift your left knee, and start to scooch your weight forward. Once you feel like your weight is forward, push your shin into your right arm, and your left leg will lift. The chaturanga out is the easy part. It's almost like you're a coiled spring, and the chaturanga exit is just waiting to happen. We meet in downward dog. That's one of the poses where you end up with some bruises on your arms sometimes. Okay, left leg high, inhale. Step it partway forward, exhale. Lift the right leg. We'll keep the hips square to the mat. We'll just bend the right heel in toward our butt. And reach left hand for the right foot. You might have to bend your left leg and do a whole lot of wiggling in order to get your grip. That's fine. Once you have your grip, try to square up again. We're kicking with the foot into the hand. We might even look up over the left shoulder. Okay, so unravel yourself. Your left foot is already glued to the ground. Just bring your right knee outside of that foot and have a seat. You might even sit on a series of blocks. Or a couch pillow would be nice. We'll hug that knee to the right shoulder, look over the left shoulder. Make a choice about how you want to hook your arm. If you want to hook your arm, we're trying to push the knee to the right, so that we actually have more weight on the inner edge of the left foot. And you might have to think about it. What is the left foot? What is the right side? There's so much overlapping and pretzeling right now that it's hard to know what's what. Into standing splits we go. So start to unravel yourself. Memorize this foot. That's not going to change. Everything else will change. We're just practicing this shifting of weight. Because really when you go into hard balances, it's the same concept. Hands, if you can, onto the left calf. You can always have one hand on the calf and one hand on the floor. Lower the fingertips, step back with that right foot, and just take your time to settle into what might be your Eka Bhekasana. There's a lot of ways into this, but if it's new to you, this leaning forward thing is going to be a nice way. So you have to dip your shoulder low so that you can get your armpit to your shin. If you're up higher, you can do it, it's just going to be harder. So take your time with the setup, because that's always going to decide the success of the pose. Lifting the left foot and the right knee is pretty easy, because it's like a plank. Shifting the weight is not so easy. Come onto the toenails of your right foot. Start to lift your hips up higher. You can just think of bending your right knee in toward your chest, curling into a little ball there. Maybe extending the leg. Mine doesn't want to go today. And the remedy is vinyasa. Walk the hands to the feet. Whenever they're close, bend your knees, just roll up to standing. I'm going to face you, but you can face whatever way. We're going to bend our right leg, reach down for the pinky toe side of the foot, extend the foot and leg forward some amount. So we're kicking the ball of the foot away. Once you're settled there, lift your left arm up. Just reach toward the ceiling. Okay, let's reach forward. We're going to replace the right hand with the left hand and reach back with the right hand. Lower the right hip down an inch. Either stay like this or reach the right arm up to the ceiling. As you drop your right hip down, as you twist. A lot of stuff happening all at the same time. Reach forward again with that right hand. Replace right hand or left hand with right hand. So again, we're just holding the same hand and foot. Woo, extend out to the side. Left hand can either reach out or return to the hip. Gaze left if you can. Start to bend the right leg. We'll place the foot into tree. As high up on the leg as you can. Let's bring both hands to the hips and try to get the hips to actually face forward, whatever forward is for you, as opposed to letting them kind of spin toward the right knee. Hips forward and the right knee is going to press back on its own. You're going to feel a nice opening in the hip. When you can, arms to cactus. Tuck the ribs in, get a little taller. Lower the fingers down and take your arms to reverse prayer or holding opposite elbows behind you. So the same stuff we did before. When you're situated, we're going to turn this into warrior 3. We'll bring that right knee to face front. Start to extend the right leg back. Lean forward, point the right toes. The chest is leaning forward and reaching, and the hands behind the back are helping to do that, nudging us into this extension. Take one more breath. Reach even through your toes. We'll just come to stand. Shake it out. So a lot of fancy stuff with the right leg, a lot of work with the left leg. Let's try the other side. We'll bring our left hand to the pinky toe side of the foot. Extend the leg out. Any amount. If your leg is in here and you're pushing the ball of your foot, this is a good spot to be. The range is very personal. When you can, reach up with that right arm. Push down with the right foot. So it's this root to rise feeling. The more you push into the right foot, the more you can reach with the arm. Let's cross the hand over the foot. So we're in the twist. Our right thumb is facing down. Maybe we look back over the left shoulder. If you're able, reach the left arm up. And it's the same root to rise feeling, but now think of rooting through your left hip. Left hip down, left arm up. Face front again, left hand to left foot. Bring the leg out to the side. Ideally, our hips are already facing front, but we might have to fix that when we come into tree in a moment. So just take another breath here. There's a lot to keep track of, so it's hard to think of everything at once. We're just trying not to fall over. Let's bend the left leg, hook the foot high up on the thigh if you can. Anywhere on the leg is fine, so long as you're not applying side pressure on the knee. Bring the hands to the hips. I like to literally pull the right hip back, literally push the left hip forward while I'm thinking about the left knee moving back. Keeping that, so we have that zip up feeling that we had very early on. The lowest ribs are tucked in. Bring the arms to cactus and take it into your reverse prayer. If you need to wiggle and back bend to get into your reverse prayer, by all means do it. But then find your neutral again. Tuck your ribs, zip up the low belly. When you can, point your left knee forward and extend the leg back. The chest will come down in response to the left leg. Roll the left hip down a little bit so that hip bone's facing the ground, just like the right side. Reach the right armpit forward as much as the left armpit. 2 more breaths. Elbows up. Oh, wait. Take your time rising out of it. I think I rushed that last breath because I sensed I was teetering on forward. Okay, let's come back to the top of the mat. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold forward. Halfway up for an inhale. And stepward jump, chaturanga, exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. Let us go for Gomukhasana A. We'll lower to the knees. We'll set up tripod style. 2 hands and a head. Make a triangle. The knees come up. The legs eventually come up. Take your time. I'm going to go premature exit so that I can watch you. You'll end up in a chaturanga that keeps going. Try not to get stuck in your chaturanga. Don't fall to the floor. Okay, when you're ready, take that exit. Carol, that didn't seem like it worked. It didn't work, huh? Okay. So that exit is what we're going to do for each of the 7 headstands. Feel free to put a wall behind you. I don't have a wall, so I'm going to go conservative. Instead of going completely vertical, I'll probably be stopping somewhere in a pike, just for the sake of my mental sanity. So when you're ready, B position. Arms are going to be back, like how they were in our Parsva much earlier. So we have our knuckles down, and we push into the knuckles until eventually the legs go up, and I'll show you the exit. So here we are lifting our legs up, and I'm going to make a very quick decision when I want to come into chaturanga. Exhale, whoosh, and then I'll keep going. And you saw that my legs didn't go all the way to vertical in the headstand. That's a nice way to do it so that you are sure you're not going to fall over. This is a very interesting headstand because you're going to notice your right and left sides are not equal in strength. Miss Lisa, are you okay? If you don't want to do that position, return to the first one. Okay, Candace, that was good, except that you went straight to upward dog and bypassed chaturanga, which is actually pretty clever. I don't know if I've seen that done before. Okay, let's head for C position. So this one is my least favorite, but I know not everyone agrees. We all have our favorites. So the hands are out to the sides. And we're gonna think, remember this position when you're standing at the top of your mat at the very beginning of class. You inhale and you reach up. You do that a million times. You rotate the shoulders so that your pinky fingers are attracted to each other. It's that same feeling, but toward the floor. So when you have your arms out to the side, your pinky fingers are pressing down. A lot. And I got real quiet because God knows I cannot talk in that pose. Try to go two legs together. This is not one of those that you want to kick up into. It's a little bit too precarious. You want to stay safe in the neck. Carol, let's see. You can always start with your feet on a block or on a couch pillow so that you don't have quite as much oomph that you have to go through. And Carol, you would be a candidate for that because of this kicking habit that I am seeing. Okay, so moving right along, I am going to show you what I mean by the block. I have to dust my block off since my cat started to scratch it all up to hell. So we'll just go for Bhekasana A. This is the one where our fingers are interlaced, a very normal one. So the block thing could be used in any headstand. So I would put my head down, my feet on the block, and now my butt is higher. So maybe, and my block is too far away, but maybe then with my feet in closer, I can start to go with two legs at once. There is, of course, then this issue of how do I chaturanga out of here when I have a block on the mat. I think I can still clear that block because it's very small. So I'll loosen up the hands. And then I cleared the block, but I was a little nervous. Props are awesome and a hindrance at the same time. If you have a roommate, you can have them grab your prop out of the way real quick. Put them to work. Okay. So this is seeming like an easy one, and it's probably because you're very used to this headstand. The ease that you have there, you just want to try to infuse into your other headstands. So let's go for Bhekasana B. The positioning of elbows and head is the same, but you're going to hold your thumbs to your upper arms. So it's the I Dream of Genie arms. Your forehead will touch your forearms. And then with or without a block, you're going to move your feet in, your butt up. You're going to push into your elbows a lot in order to get your legs up. And you just go as high as you want. You stay for anywhere up to 5 breaths. No mas. The exit is a chaturanga on an exhale. And it's a commitment thing. Once you decide you're going to chaturanga, you have to have your hands move and your legs move all at once. It's like that coiled spring feeling. Carol, let's see it. She's like regretting this request. She's going to submit a rescinding of request form. Okay. Good. So sometimes you might assume that A position is the easiest and then it gets harder, B, C, D, but that's not always the case because everyone has different shoulder scenarios. I love this next one, C position, but it's very tough on shoulders because of flexibility. So you would measure out your elbows just like normal and then place your palms flat, forearms parallel. Remember when we did this side plank thing earlier? If it was hard for you to do it with your forearms in parallel, you might not want to try this headstand. You might want to repeat A position, interlace the fingers. When you're ready, if you're trying C, you'll have your palms flat. You could always repeat any of the other ones we did. And we float the legs up. So it's like virasana arms, but with your head on the floor. You stay up to 5 breaths, exit through your chaturanga. Okay. So the good news is we only have one more. Carol's looking so tired. Oh my God. All right. So the last one is one of the hardest, I think, but it's nowhere nearly as hard as the one where your hands are out crazy to the side. So we're going to start with our hands on our elbows just to make sure we're not too wide. We'll interlace our fingers and place our head just so we know where the head goes. And then we're going to pick our hands up and put them on the shoulders. So now you just have your foundation as 2 elbows and a head. And you'll start to lift your legs. And your fingers are literally helping to push your shoulders up, away from the ground. Never have your elbows been so strong. Feel free to only lift your legs a few feet off the ground. They don't have to go all the way up. Carol, I'm watching your exit. Let's do this, girl. End with a bang. Okay, almost. It was better than before, so I'm going to take it. All right, when you've had enough of such things, we're going to meet in dolphin. So we'll hold the elbows, interlace the fingers, lift the knees. And just relax the neck. It's just dangling now. There's a lot of reasons that you might have just had a difficult time with the headstands. The biggest reason that you just had a difficult time is probably that you don't practice them that often. Okay, let's come down to the knees, and we're just going to stand on the shins. We'll untuck the toes so that we have our toenails on the floor. And let's look back and make sure your feet are actually behind your knees. Sometimes we think they are, but they're doing the Charleston. Okay, let's place our hands on the front hip flexors and just push your hips forward a little bit into your hands. We're going to keep pushing the hips forward, but we're going to lean back a few inches or 12 inches and then push forward again. And we'll just do this a few times. You can imagine Michael Jackson, how he kind of leaned in all these crazy directions. I don't know if he had special shoes on or not, but I like to channel him when doing this pose. This is a prep for Laghu Vajrasanas. This in itself is not really a pose. Okay, let's return to shoulders over hips. Life is easy again. And just step to downward dog. All right, rock forward to plank. Lower down all the way to your belly. We'll prop up on the forearms. I'm just going to roll the shoulders back so it feels like our chest is lifting away from the floor. Push the pubic bone down. Just bring your right heel toward your butt. Squeeze the leg and extend back again. Bring your left leg in, like your heel is going to touch your butt. Squeeze and extend back. And again, right leg in. As your right leg's coming in, push your left foot into the floor. And Release the right leg so you can squeeze left foot in, right foot presses, and extend the leg. Okay. Left arm under right, because this is the shoulder thing Katie was talking about earlier that she loves, and right arm over to the left. So we're trying to get pretty much a straight line. I'm just going to go at this diagonal for the camera. My feet are off the mat, but you can just be on your mat normal. So our arms are like 180 degrees, and we're dropping our head to the floor. Some of you are going to have your forehead touch the floor. I cannot imagine such things, but maybe in 10 years that'll happen for me. I'm not sure. I'll just have to wait and see. Unravel yourself. Prop up through the Sphinx so that it's an easy setup for the other side. Right arm threads under the left arm. Left hand walks over to the right. Just try your best to line up the arms straight. Press the pubic bone down. This is another one that's great at pointing out our differences in right and left sides. I feel like my right arm is about to rip off, but I didn't feel that way on the other side. Okay, we'll come through center. Sphinx pose again. This time moving into Bhekasana. So if Bhekasana is not for you, you're going to take dandasana instead. Dandasana is holding the ankles and kicking. Bhekasana is holding the feet from the inside and pushing down. Either way, we have our chest lifting up and forward, our pubic bone pressing down. Either way, we're getting a stretch through the shoulders and chest. Take 2 more breaths. The gaze is down the nose. Okay, let that go. Hands under the shoulders. Curl into upward facing dog. Inhale. Downward dog. Exhale. Stand on the shins again. Jump or step into it. We'll attempt, again, Laghu Vajrasanas, this time nudging into it a little bit more. You could do the same thing we did, the prep, with the hands on the thighs, or it's still going to be a prep. We're not going fully into it. Or you're going to put your hands on your ankles. Thumbs are inside, other fingers are outside. And we'll just go back a little bit and forward. We push. We come back a little bit and we push. So whether your hands are on your ankles or your hips, the pushing forward is sort of the emphasis of your pose. Let me watch just for a sec. Good. So Carol, when you push forward, keep your hands on your ankles, even at the full top of it. It's lovely. I know it's so hard, right? Okay. So take a rest in toe crunch for a sec. That's just where we sit with our toes curled under. We try to bring our ankle bones together. For some of you, this is easy. Congratulations. You get to rest for a moment. So I'm just going to show you that prep again, because some of you need to do that again. Some of you will go to full Laghu. So the hands come down. This is rolling the shoulders back. My toenails press into the floor. If you're doing the prep, look at my hands. They're not going to move. I'm just trying to move my hips. If I want to come full pose, it's the same thing. I go down here, I stay for 5. The process of coming up is the same. So really, the question is just how low do you want to go? Everything else is the same. So give it a try. Of course, you can repeat the one where our hands are on our hips. You do not have to reach for your feet. Your throat will be open. Your chest has to open, the shoulders, the hip flexors. Carol, resist the urge to want to come up quite so high and do it a few times holding the ankles, even if it means you can't come all the way up. Just come to your maximum. I know, it's so fun, right? It's all right. Let's come on over to our butts. We will try that again in a few minutes. We'll just do a few other things that could potentially help. Let's lay down. Laghu Vajrasanas is very hard, but then once you get it, it's going to be like riding a bike. Like, it's one of those poses that you don't have to practice very often, and you won't really lose it again. There's other poses that you will lose as soon as you stop practicing. Okay. Seju Bandha Sarvangasana. So heels close to the butt. Lift your hips up. Let's do one where we interlace our fingers underneath the back. So literally roll to one shoulder so that you can get the other one rolled underneath you more. Do that as many times as you need. The stiffer your shoulders are, the more you're going to have to do that. Press your heels into the floor and energetically traction them toward your hands. So it feels like your knees are moving away from your face. And then your butt is going to work harder. Your hamstrings are going to work harder. Take one more breath here. Keep your arms like they are. Just lower your butt onto your forearms. We'll just stay here for a couple breaths to relax. We'll do one more Seju Bandha Sarvangasana. We're going to try to get our hands under the hips. So lift your hips. I have to come onto the balls of the feet in order to get positioned. We're going to bring our palms to the back hip bones so that all 5 fingers are to the outsides. And when you can, lower your heels down again. So your hips are as high as your forearms are long. If this is easy for you, start to creep your feet closer together. At some point, it's going to be very hard. And some people bring knees together even. That basically is impossible for me. But you can play with the leg positions to help keep it hard enough for you that you're entertained, so that you're not complacent. Okay, slowly come on down. We'll go for Urdhva Dhanurasana, either with your hands at the baseboard so that you don't have to bend your wrists so much, or repeat what we did, or go to your forearms. And in this one, we're just going to rock forward and back with the mindset of how you have to do it in Laghu Vajrasana. Okay, come on down at your leisure. We'll take one more back bend from our backs. I'll go for Viparita dandasana. I'm going to face this way in case you're not sure what that is. So it would be like coming up to Urdhva, but I'll place the head, then I'll creep the hands back so the elbows replace the hands. Then the head can come up again and maybe look toward the thumbs. Feels good. So any back bend that you choose, take about 5 breaths. I'm going to come down so I can have a look-see at you and see what you are choosing. Oh, Carol was choosing nothing. Oh. Okay. Very good. All right, so when you've had enough, come on down. We're going to meet in virasana. If you have knee issues, sit on something or go for a different thigh stretch. I know you know many of them. We're going to come back into Supta virasana and we'll stay for 6 breaths or so. And if you're doing a different thigh stretch, just do like 3 breaths on one side and then switch. Those of you that are in Supta virasana, reach your arms overhead, away from your knees, and try to tuck your lowest ribs in. And you'll notice if you push into your toes, it's easier to tuck your lowest ribs in because your butt gets lighter. If your butt can be lighter enough to like slide a piece of paper underneath your butt, your pubic bone will lift, and then your ribs will come in. Just remember how you're pushing into your feet. Okay, let's come on up. We're going to stand on the knees again. So that pushing into your feet is the same thing you have to do in Laghu Vajrasanas. This is going to be our last back bend. It's incorporating everything, basically. There's no piece of your body that gets to check out for this particular pose. If it's too much, just put your hands on your hips and take it to a nice Ustrasana, something like this. Or try the preps, where you go back a little bit. Or hands to the ankles, preps where you just go back a little bit. Or full pose, you could even put a block there to catch your head so that your head can land, but it doesn't have to go all the way to the ground. The way up is pushing into your feet and your arms. It's like thrusting your hips forward, but in a slow and steady way. Lisa, you're very close. I wonder if you're avoiding the ground for any reason in particular. Okay. So when you've had enough of such things, we're just going to meet in pigeon, right leg in front. Because somehow I fill up 90 minutes with a whole lot of jibber jabber, and then here we are, and we have to finish. So pigeon, you can make a pillow for yourself. Okay, let's rise up. We're going to swing the left leg forward and make a choice to either have your thighs open 90 degrees with your right foot inside, like by your left thigh, or outside, virasana style. And either way, your thighs are 90 degrees, we're going to twist to face the right knee, side bend to the left. And we'll keep facing that right knee even when we're side bending, so it feels like your chest is sideways. The right ribs on top of the left ribs, and we reach out through that right arm so we stretch the waist. Feels pretty awesome. Inhale up, pigeon left leg in front. Just bend the left leg and scoot the right leg back. Rise up, swing the right leg forward, and make a choice. Left foot in or outside of the hip. Another option would just be L shape. Fine. Twist to the left a little bit so that your belly button is angling toward the left knee. Left arm up and over, side bending any amount. I like to go inhale, reach, exhale, fold, even though the fold is in the twist. You'll get just as much of a stretch from the reach as you will from the fold. Inhale up. We'll bring the soles of the feet together, Bhekasana. Chest up on the inhale. And fold forward any amount for your exhale. I like to rock a little bit side to side, reset through the hips a bit. Rise up, left leg straight. Janushasana A. So if you do nothing with the core, you'll be facing this diagonal. But we know Janushasana means head to knee. So we have to twist. And then inhale and fold. Shirsa is head. So that's where you get the clue that something like Muktahasta Shirsasana, that's a headstand. Padahasta Shirsasana, it's a headstand. Okay, let's rise up and change sides. Right leg straight, left leg comes in. Like your tree pose, your heel is very high up, like above the little pooch of extra flesh. And twist and fold. And the whole foot presses into the leg. Let's rise up. We're going to lay back and just do one little thing before we take Shavasana, just to reconnect with core, because sometimes back bends sort of take that out of the loop. So first just lay with the soles of the feet down, and let's overarch the back by dropping the sitting bones toward the floor. And we'll go the opposite way, press the entire spine down into the floor so nothing can crawl from one side to the other. So it's like cat-cows, but you're laying down. So feel like that. And try to find what you might consider neutral. So that a grape could be placed under your spine. Maybe your fingertips can slip in just to the side of your waist. And decide where you want your hands. That can always change. I like to put the hands kind of moving around the hips and lowest ribs. We're just going to lift the right leg off the ground and try not to let any shifting happen. Extend it out about 45 degrees and bring it in and lower it down again. And try with the left side without letting anything else move. So the back doesn't change how much it was arched. Bring the leg in again and lower. Just alternate sides. Right leg comes in. The hips don't shift. Right leg extends. Bend the knee over the hip and lower the foot. And if you feel anything moving or shifting, either go slower or go smaller. Don't extend the leg as far. And if you can do this with Uddiyana bandha and Mula bandha, it will help stabilize the back. It will feel pretty good. It will help you recover from any back bend strain that might have occurred. Let's just do one more each side. Just keep checking that you're not wiggling. Be honest with yourself about that. Just like at the very beginning when we did those shoulder things where we made circles with our arms. We're trying to be very stable. Same concept. Okay, when your left foot is down again, let's bring the feet a little closer to the butt and all the way together. And open up your legs like Bhekasana. And you'll find that your back is going to just have a nice neutral there. You won't even have to think about it. Open up the arms like you would Shavasana. Take a few breaths here. Theoretically, with our heels this close to the pelvis, you're able to relax. If that's not the case, just go to Shavasana right now. We're just going to ease into Shavasana, but if I don't want your hips to be tense. Okay, bring the feet about 6 inches further forward, and again, let the knees drop down. And now it's more difficult. It's harder to relax. Either go straight to Shavasana or take it one more time, hips a little more open because the feet are sliding a little further away. And we'll meet in Shavasana with the legs out and just flopped open. Feet about mat's width, give or take. You can do anything else with your legs. Start to wiggle fingers and toes. If you have time for a longer Shavasana, just reach over and exit the meeting so that you can stay longer, up to an hour. Why not? And when you can, bring your knees in toward your chest. And we'll just roll to the right side, field position. Be here for a few breaths. Very minimal effort. Let's sit up. Arrange our shoulders over our hips. Our ears over our shoulders. And to do that, we have to very slightly engage through the core. one byproduct of our tendency to always be leaning forward and rushing forward is that we forget about this somatic integration. The body knows everything. We just have to put our minds to the side and let the body do what would be perfect for it. Because the body is nature, and nature is never wrong. Let's bring the hands together. Inhale. Hold forward, exhale. Namaste. I'm going to run over here and flip it around and say hello.